So hear me out. I've been trying to think of what we should call our community members, what we should refer to them as. And I'm thinking bullies. I know it has like a negative connotation, but check it out. It sounds a little like this. Hello to all my bullies out there. This is your host, Timothy Nesbitt, with the Bullied Nostalgia Podcast, a place where we review our childhoods with nicotine-colored glasses firmly in place. I'm joined by my co-hosts, John.
That's me.
Chance.
Howdy-ho there, neighbor.
Kylan.
Is that a Home Improvement reference?
Oh, you bet.
Sorry, wait.
Oh! That's pretty good, actually. And today's special guest, Michael.
One of the voice actors from Dino-Riders was actually on Home Improvement.
Whoa.
By pure chance.
Just so these guys didn't understand.
Yeah, that was a deep cut reference that Chance was doing, and you just didn't get it cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that was.
It was all planned. So many of our favorites to watch. Oh, look, now they're being bashed. I guess that's what we should expect on the Bullied Nostalgia Podcast. So, what do you guys think? When I hear the term bullies, I think of Wooly Bully from The Chipmunk Adventure, which is definitely a movie we're doing later in the season. But do you guys have any ideas of what you would refer to them as instead?
My mind immediately goes to the people who are being bullied.
Yeah.
So maybe you call them like the Nerd Squad or something like that.
Like you would differentiate the two groups of people. Either you're the bullies or you're the bullied.
The uncool kids.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, well, that's enough of that. Welcome to the podcast, Michael.
I'm excited to be here.
For context, Michael and I grew up together. We became friends in kindergarten and hung out through all of the schools. We were in French immersion, which meant that our class didn't switch out year to year. You were with the same kids every year. So we got to be pretty close.
And pretty much every class of every day.
That's right. That's right. Gym was in French. Science was in French. French was in French. So you had the same kids in class all day with you. That's right. And back then, Michael went by his middle name, Tom. So we were Tim and Tom. We were an inseparable duo.
And my memories of Michael, well, specifically Michael's house, is that Michael had all the toys that we didn't have. In his basement, he had shelves of all the coolest Jurassic Park toys or Power Ranger toys. I think even the big T-Rex from Jurassic Park. Yeah, I just remember it being a happy place for me. And you also had some pretty sweet VHSs. And I remember playing a lot of Aladdin at your house on your video game console.
I'm having so many flashbacks, you guys. This might actually be a little bit more disconnected than I wanted it to be because I went down so many tangents just watching those episodes. And now hearing you guys speak about things is bringing back memories I haven't thought of in 20 years. This is phenomenal. Thank you already so much for this gift.
So, yeah, having Michael on the podcast here, this is about as deep a cut into my childhood as we get. We did everything when we were little together. And so the TV show that we're going to talk about today is no exception. I mean, more specific to toys, but we'll get into it. In the meantime, I got to do the traditional opener stuff. Make sure that we get all those things dealt with. As I mentioned, Bullied Nostalgia is a place where we look back at our childhoods and maybe don't always look at them in the fondest lights as when we were experiencing them. If you like what you hear and you want to come back for more, hit whatever subscribe button is available to you. Over 80% of our listeners are not subscribed, so if you want to come back...
Statistics now.
Yeah, well, you know me, I was digging into new data. Yeah, you'll be notified as to when we do it again. For people who are subscribed And they either want to help share the love of our podcast or help craft its future. A friendly reminder that we have a line of apparel that can be found at redbubble.com. Just search Bullied Pod. Or if you want to give any feedback, ask any questions, or give any ideas of where you want the podcast to go, you can email us at bulliedpod@gmail.com. With that, we now get to talk about
Dino-Riders.
Dino-Riders. Michael, do you want to tell us what Dino-Riders is?
Put the guest on the spot. Yeah. Dino-Riders was a cartoon from the 80s that lasted like 13 episodes, 14 or 15 if you count the movie they put out where they went into the Ice Age. And it's about science fiction futuristic humans who travel back in time accidentally, bringing their enemies with them, the Emperor
Krulos.
Krulos, yeah. And they end up back on Earth in prehistoric times, and they use their technology as well as their telepathic and healing abilities to befriend dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And fight against the evil Emperor who followed them back through time to get their time travel device, the Step.
Correct, yes. So we're not really sure if the Valorians are humans. They seem to know about prehistoric Earth. It's a little unclear, but they come from some other planet, and this evil alien empire known as the Rulons have conquered everything. And this last ship of escapees uses their step drive, like Michael said, that bends space and time. And the bad guys just happen to be latched onto them when it happens. So they all get thrown back into prehistoric Earth, and they use dinosaurs to fight each other a whole bunch. As was the case in the 80s, this cartoon was just an excuse to sell toys. It was like this tried and true recipe that if you wanted to sell toys, you needed to advertise them to kids all the time. There were no laws in place that said you couldn't advertise them by straight up airing 30-minute long commercials. So that was the case throughout the 80s. Yeah, this show ran from 1988 to 1990 alongside 4 waves of what are to this day some of the coolest toys ever made by Tycho. Chance.
Yeah.
How much did you know about Dino-Riders before this?
I have never seen any Dino-Riders content, but I did have and own several of the Dino-Riders toys.
Well,
in particular, I think I had...
Chance.
I know I had the Ankylosaurus, because it's the coolest one.
Chance.
Yes.
I'm looking over at my father, because he's talked about this a lot. You never had Dino-Riders.
Not in a technical... So, okay, maybe this is a surprise to Chance. This was a toy...
Is there different Dino-Riders?
Well, yes, actually. I was obsessed with Dino-Riders growing up, and the toys, we'll talk a little bit more about them in a little bit here, were amazing. And so when I had my own kids, it was my obligation as a parent to brainwash said children.
Brain box.
Brainbox. It was my obligation to brainbox my children.
If only it was that easy.
That's pretty good. At the time, Imaginext, a Fisher-Price toy line, had come out with a line of toys that really resembled what Dino-Riders were. They were not actually affiliated, but they just had a strong vibe similarity. In the toy line that you guys had, I took it as far as to customize the Imaginext action figures to look like Dino-Riders. So your memories are a little bit tainted, unfortunately.
You thought you had Dino-Riders because he tried as hard as he could to get you Dino-Riders.
That's right. That's right. When your mom sold off all the toys when she closed down her day home, she sold off the Dino-Riders without me knowing, and I was a little bit heartbroken, to be honest.
Your blood, sweat, and tears went into those.
Dino-Riders might also be familiar to you, Chance, because like you mentioned earlier, this is the plot, essentially, of the Beast Wars Transformers show that we recently watched.
This is Beast Wars, but instead of animals, it's dinosaurs.
Yeah, I honestly never made the connection until watching them now. Beast Wars is a carbon copy of this storyline.
Two intergalactic enemies start fighting each other. One of them uses their warp drive and ends up in the past. The other one is taken with them. Then they have a battle in a prehistoric Earth while trying to claim dominance by using the species of the Earth at the time.
And even the bad guys are crashed in a volcano here, which is the same as Beast Wars. And the bad guys are made up of bugs and snakes and lizards. I don't mean this as a slight to Beast Wars, but they lost a lot of credibility when I realized how similar it is to this, which predated it by a decade.
A lot of the voice actors are from the original Transformers cartoon.
Yes.
Transformers, G.I. Joe, lots of amazing voice talent.
So yeah, it's these stranded humans who are trying to survive against the Rulons. We only watched 4 episodes. We watched episode 1, 2, 12, 13. Did anybody watch anything more than those?
No,
I put on a stream of them. There was like 2.5 hours worth of Dino-Riders, but I didn't focus on it while I did that.
You basked yourself in the whole series.
I did watch those 4 episodes, and I noticed the difference between the first and second episode. The animation felt a lot crisper on the second episode, but then because there was technically 14 episodes, because they released this Ice Age one after the first season ended to promote more toys, I glanced through episode 14, and again, the animation kind of dropped again. It focused on the G.I. Joe characters, aka the Commandos. And it just seems like a pretty terrible episode, apart from just promoting more toys.
Yeah, so as the series line continued, they released more and more characters. There's so many named characters in this show. We only got to see 4 episodes worth, so we probably met a dozen humans, but there's way more than that. And as the toy line grew, they introduced these commando characters who I don't even think came with dinosaurs. I think they were just packs of action figures that joined it. And the show...
They were just worse G.I. Joes?
They did feel just like G.I. Joes, yeah. I really didn't like them being a part of it. The core cast had this weird... Kai and I were talking about their aesthetic earlier. It's kind of retro-futuristic.
It's kind of like a mix of tribal and sci-fi in a really weird way.
It's like in Star Trek when they go to a planet of tribal people.
Yeah, it is a weird aesthetic. It kind of even has almost a Star Wars vibe to the human clothing.
Waiting to say that. To me, it's very like Star Wars, where everything is clean in space, but once you get down on the ground, everything is dirty and sort of outbacky.
So I actually like it. And that was one of the things that we talked about too, is the bad guys are hammerhead sharks, manta rays, locusts, ants, snakes.
And a frog?
Yeah, whatever Krulos is. Krulos is such a weird design. His eyes are like yin-yangs or something. But I think it's really cool.
And he's aquatic.
That's right, he's aquatic. Because those hammerhead sharks can breathe air, but...
He's not amphibious, mind you. My theory is that it's kind of like a Covenant thing from Halo, where it's a whole bunch of different species in one...
Oh, and he conquered them or whatever.
Yeah. And maybe he's the only one of his species there.
Yeah, I really like his design. I really like the aesthetic of the Dino-Rider stuff. The Valorians have rounded edges and are very spherical in design, whereas the Rulons all have sharp, jagged edges to their technology and spikes.
It almost looks more like Transformers body pieces, like how they're always geometric.
Hard corners. Yeah, we talked about Silverhawks last season, where I just really like whoever the design team was that created this stuff. I think that they were really creative. Michael, what types of memories did this bring back?
Well, I was really surprised because I think I only ever watched the first 2 episodes before now.
You had them on VHS, I think.
Yeah, I was trying to remember, and I think that I only discovered Dino-Riders because of the Sears Christmas catalog.
Okay.
Sierra's bringing it back.
And then I think I went nuts because I was a covert autistic dinosaur kid.
Have we talked about Sierra's?
I don't know.
I don't know that there was ever a time when people loved dinosaurs so much. Then from 1985 to 1995, there was dinosaur fever.
Yeah. In the 80s, dinosaurs were everywhere. And then just as that started to drop off, then we got Jurassic Park. And then it relit that fire. So I, like Michael, growing up, dinosaurs were my most interesting, exciting thing. My parents took me to the Drumheller Dinosaur Museum when I was little, and that was like Disneyland to me. They took me to Disneyland, but I have more memories of Drumheller because that had such a huge impact. They bought me these big rubber dinosaurs, and those stayed with me forever. I just loved them so much. And so when Tyco came out with these dinosaur toys, they knew what they were doing because the action figures themselves were maybe 2 inches, just tiny. And the battle gear that you could attach to the dinosaurs and stuff was cool. But the dinosaurs themselves were the highest quality toys ever made. They were wildly successful. And so even after the Dino-Riders line failed, the Smithsonian Institute approached this team and resold all of the dinosaurs in their museums for many years.
They became the basic dinosaurs for a while.
Yeah, these dinosaur toys were the dinosaur toys for a decade before Jurassic Park toys would finally come out and be the next generation of dinosaur toy. I didn't have very many of these toys. Sorry, I did have a decent number, but I only had small kits. So I had whatever type of raptors those are. I don't remember what they're called.
Dino-Nicus?
Thank you. I had some pterodactyls, those types of things. But Michael had the Diplodocus.
It was badass.
And it was badass. I was super
It was
jealous.
so cool.
Yeah, very cool. Did you have any other bigger kits, Michael?
I think at one point I did have the T-Rex.
Yeah?
But I think that it was one that one of my aunts got me from an auction or something because it didn't have the brain box. And I never got like a Krulos figure. And I think he's supposed to come with that one. So I think I got it secondhand.
Okay.
Should we explain what the brain boxes are?
I was actually jealous because you had 2 of the pterodactyls. And I was super jealous because I didn't have any of the pterodactyls. And they were my favorite because you could take them to school with you without getting in trouble.
Poor you. Your dinosaurs were too big to take to school with you.
You have no idea how often I was jealous of you, dude. Like,
Tim, I happened to go into your bins in the basement.
Oh, and there's a pterodactyl down there, is there?
Yeah, I made a little video there for you.
I just remember how well all of those pieces fit together, and each dinosaur's design was unique so that it would strap on the brain box in a different way because the heads were shaped differently, or like it would wrap around the tail and then clip over the shoulders. They were so well designed. It was amazing.
Yeah. So for context, we made a couple jokes about brain boxes so far. When the Valorians land on prehistoric Earth, they have
telepathy.
Yeah, they have these medallions or something that allow them to speak
They get Aquaman powers, but with everything.
to the dinosaurs and essentially befriend them. Whereas the Rulons want to rule and conquer. So they have what are called brain boxes. And so they essentially put a helmet on the dinosaur and it turns them into controllable killing machines. And so then it becomes this battle between the Valorians and friendly dinosaurs against the Rulons and the brainwashed dinosaurs.
And the good guys always won because the dinosaurs wanted to help them because they were their friends, not just their servants.
Did the dinosaurs want to help them?
Yeah,
Like, what?
I mean, like,
Dinosaur.
most of the times it was like, here, I'll use my telepathy to make this dinosaur do something it would never want to do. Let them leave. They're enslaving them to do their basic tasks. I'm pretty sure brain boxes are just better mind control.
Yeah, it's really weird. They're like, no, how dare you hurt these dinosaurs? There's our friends. Now then, Dilophosaurus, make me a bathroom.
Make me a bathroom?
Yeah, they're building their village.
When they communicated with the dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, except for some reason they couldn't communicate with the T-Rex.
No, they just
had
didn't
to
want
run from
to.
it.
It was very clear they never tried.
Kyle pointed out they only really communicate with herbivores.
They're vegans.
They got the Deniocuses. They got the Gallimimuses.
I think my assessment was more the bad guys seem to avoid herbivores.
Well, no, they have Triceratops and stuff.
Yeah, but that's the one, and it's got a big horn, 3 of them.
Yeah, the meanest looking nice one.
Yeah, exactly.
I fell down a rabbit hole about a year ago, and I was like, I wonder what it would cost to get Dino-Rider toys. And it's a lot. It's a lot of money.
How much does that pterodactyl cost?
Well, that pterodactyl has none of its parts.
You see the parts that I sent him?
Well, you sent the parts from the Valorian pterodactyl.
it's both.
That is the Rulon pterodactyl. I can tell you that at a glance.
So you can tell apart the color and the slight shaping differences?
It's the difference in the head.
Yeah.
One's a pterodon.
Yeah, in all honesty, there probably is specifics in the exact species, and I just call them all pterodactyls.
Yeah, we've been brainwashed that way.
I've been brainboxed.
They're all
that way.
brachiosauruses and pterodactyls.
Some of them, like Michael's Diplodocus, had battery-operated walking ability, whereas the littler kits, like the raptors and the pterodactyls, had buttons that let you press, and they would flap their wings or move their legs. And they just kept making them bigger and bigger and bigger until they made the Brontosaurus, which is not an actual dinosaur, but back then we didn't know better.
Well, it's a Apatosaurus, right?
Right. The Brontosaurus, when Michael and I were dino fanatics.
It's Ghostbusters 2. Doesn't it show up in the background or something?
Oh, no. We watched
wait.
The Shadow.
Oh, yeah, the Shadow.
And that
shows
was an
up,
iguanodon. Right. The iguanodon's bones turned out to be their thumbs, but originally people thought it was their horns. For the Brontosaurus was actually an Apatosaurus, and they mixed bones together from another dinosaur, and they thought that they had discovered another one. But the Brontosaurus set was so massive that they had to cut costs and remove the electronics. So really cool sets. I've never seen them in person, but a guy can dream.
I have thoughts on the Brontosaurus. They scaled it up real big. In the show,
Oh, it's huge.
its footprint is car-sized, and they stand inside of their little control panel that's mounted onto the thing, and they could like walk around in it. Firstly, no dinosaur is that big. Mosasaurus would be fighting for that size. Secondly, the toy is nowhere near that big either. I guess they just wanted to make it look scary and formidable against the T-Rex.
Well, and the size of things just changed from frame to frame in the show. The humans on the back of the Brontosaurus were a decent size, but then all of a sudden they put this giant base on its back, and they're just little people inside the base. It was inconsistent.
Yeah.
So back to these friendships with their dinosaurs. They are not only getting these dinosaurs to do all their labor, but they're also strapping guns to these dinosaurs. So these dinosaurs have to shoot their relatives who have been brainboxed.
Yeah, we only watched 4 episodes. I watched other episodes, so I can tell you that some of Krulos's schemes were like, oh, I'll start a stampede. The Valorians won't hurt any of the dinosaurs, so they won't be able to stop it. It's inconsistent sometimes.
Whether they shoot them or not, yeah.
Yeah. They try and sneak morality into it some episodes, and we only touched on it a tiny bit, but Serena has the ability to heal things, and so she heals Turret in the last episodes that we watched, but in other episodes she almost dies healing a bunch of dinosaurs back to back. They do
in later episodes they fix it though by just conveniently shooting the guns and only the guns off of the dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's pretty inconsistent. You said earlier, John, that the heroes always win. But one thing that I like is that there is a little bit of a through line into it. The good guys keep winning, but every time it's at a cost. And, you know, they say something like, unless we do something different, next time we'll lose. I don't remember which episodes we watched and which ones we didn't, but it was anything from hiding the step crystal to building a base on the back of a Brontosaurus.
I got very big vibes throughout the show that it was an eternal game of tug of war.
Yeah.
Nothing ever changes at the end of the day. They are always on equal footing, and the heroes will always pull it out by just a little bit. They've got a big new dinosaur, or we've got a big new dinosaur, and it just doesn't change anything. It's still the exact same odds.
Yeah.
Speaking of odds, you're right. They essentially just come up with 2 new toys to fight each other each episode. But at the end, the good guys are always winning. And even Icon, the character who's known to just give statistics, in the last few episodes we watched, there are only like 5 Dino-Riders left. They're all in captivity. And then the main character, Questar, comes back to help these 5 remaining Dino-Riders. And Icon, the statistician, says, well, now we have a 78% chance of winning.
Because there's one new member.
You are missing all of your army, and you're still at 78% success? These bad guys suck.
Plot armor.
They have conquered the entire galaxy, yet 3 people would take them out?
Well, the right 3 people.
Oh, yeah. Questar.
Yeah, I did like, it's funny because my favorite colors are blue, brown, gray, literally the color that most of the Valorians wear. So it's funny for me to say that their outfits are a little dull looking, but I do think that the aesthetic is really cool. And because their aesthetic is just interesting enough, it makes me like characters who don't necessarily have a lot of personality. Like
Any of them,
yeah. Like Youngstar is brash and the cool character. Lad is supposed to be the point of view character for kids watching. He's the token child character. But we have characters like Turret and Gunner who are just reoccurring non-personality characters, but their aesthetic is interesting enough that it makes me want to see more of them.
The main human I remember us owning growing up was Mind's Eye, which is the blind grandfather.
So I was going to actually speak to that because one of the biggest memories I have growing up was me being jealous of Tim's Mind's Eye character because yours was brown and mine was blue, and for some reason that didn't fit right with me.
No fair! You've got all the dinky dinosaurs and the blind guy. I want those.
There was a lot of coveting of what Tim had when I was younger. But this show taught me a lesson because there was one point when Tim and I were on recess and we were playing with our Dino-Riders and you lost Mind's Eye. And I found it either the next recess or the next day. And I literally picked it up and I totally plotted on stealing it. And then I spent like a day in anguish going, oh, I can't do this. And anyway, if I did, who would I play with? Because I can't steal from Tim then without his toy. So I gave it back like the next recess or something the next time I had the chance. But honestly, for the first and only time in my youth, I was like, I'm going to steal this. And I decided not to.
That's a lot of growth, Michael.
It was really funny when he was introduced because the one character is like, oh, I wish you could see this, Grandpa. And I was expecting her to be talking about a deceased family member. And then he's standing behind her and he says, oh, I can imagine it. And it's like, oh, okay, so he's just blind then. Does not add much to the show.
Well, and why make him blind when he's still a kick-ass martial artist?
Yes.
Like, come on.
Yeah, why is he blind? Does it add anything?
There's a scene where the snake people break into the ship and they're going to steal the crystal, but Mind's Eye has laid a trap. And so he turns off the lights and he's like, your eyesight can't help you here. And then he beats them up as a blind martial artist. But it's not that dark.
Yeah.
And not to mention that he's fighting the snakes who don't really rely on eyesight all that much in real life, do they?
Where's your tongues
They
at?
kill with their tongues, right? Even as a kid, I thought that was weird.
You'll have to taste me to fight me.
So I also read the comics. And the comics back then were really dark by comparison. In the cartoon, Youngstar was Serena's love interest. But in the comics, Questar was the love interest, but also his half-brother Tark. And so Tark was in the cartoon too, but he was the one who piloted the Stegosaurus. But they would get into this big fight, and they had this epic laser sword duel, and Tark gets knocked off a cliff and presumably dies. And so the elders of the Valorians actually put Questar on trial for killing his brother, and he gets arrested and all this stuff. Very political. And Krulos catches Tark and injects him with dino DNA, and he becomes a dinosaur half-breed man. And they tried to do all that stuff in later Jurassic Park movies, so I guess it all comes back around in the end.
Comparing that to the show, where the main guy, Questar, it's found out that he's been sending information to the bad guys. And then the entire village is like, what? This can't be happening. We'll have to do some investigating. And then Questar just says, no, I can't do that. And he leaves. And they're like, okay, I still trust him. It's like, who are these people? Why do they trust him?
Yeah, I had a lot of feelings about that. He refused accountability, but his reason, he's like, well, you can't hold me accountable because if you take time to do that, it'll whittle down your forces and you'll be vulnerable for attack. So then he goes off by himself until all the good guys have lost, and then he swings in to be like, see, don't you need me? Oh yeah, Questar, we need you. And he's like, no, I'll just go be by myself, and does self-pity, and they're like, please, I knew you'd want me back. And then after everything ends, then they're talking like, do you think Questar was a bad guy or a good guy? No, he was totally good. He still doesn't go through with this accountability thing, but then they finally prove that he was innocent. This weird endorsing.
Very manipulative.
If the show continued, in all honesty, he could have been a bad guy. He could have just put a box under the computer to throw them off the scent. If they ever catch on to me, I'll just be like, oh yeah, it was the box sending those messages.
They could have done so much to make him have some accountability. Then he would have something to claim that he was actually a good guy instead of just leaving and then coming back, and that makes him a good guy.
I hear what you're saying, Kai, but counterpoint. I'm a 6-year-old. These dinosaurs have guns on their back.
It's stupid.
Right? Can we talk about the guns? They don't really hit anything, kind of like in G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do hit things, the only things they'll hit is dinosaurs, but it doesn't really hurt the dinosaurs.
No, it only hits the guns of the dinosaurs.
It's more like a light show until they plug in the step crystal, and then the gun actually hurts things.
No, it's a runaway gun. It shoots, and then there's a big explosion effect on the screen, and then all the dinosaurs that were there, they run away.
It's a rock-breaking gun and a tree-breaking gun.
I mean, like, I see a world where they could have made the lore that their lasers just don't hit organic things.
It reminds me of the one episode in Community where it's G.I. Joe land, but they work together because someone actually killed other people. It's like, oh, you killed people! That's cheating!
Yeah.
I just listened to your Beasties episode, and it reminds me of the, guns don't kill people, robots that turn into guns kill people.
Dinosaurs.
Right? It's dinosaurs with guns don't kill people. They
Don't kill people.
They don't do anything, really.
Nothing kills people? Is it dinosaurs with guns don't kill people? Nothing kills people.
Yeah. Although in one of the first fights, there was a dinosaur that bled, and that caught me off guard. I actually saw red on the screen, and I had to stop and pay attention to it. And then I watched the rest of the episodes looking for any blood anywhere, and there was none.
Yeah, a Stegosaurus gets bit on the neck. I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to watch a dinosaur die on screen? Rad.
But then no people get really hurt again. No dinosaurs get nothing. I was surprised. They also say kill a couple of times, which I was surprised at too, because at that point I think that they had to say like destroyed or things like that.
In the last episode we watched, Questar and Krulos actually get in hand-to-hand combat, and it's kind of the coolest action scene. Questar does beat Krulos by just cracking his mask because he needs water to breathe. But it's funny, Questar turns away from Krulos and faces the audience and says,
we don't kill people.
I could kill you.
As Krulos runs away in the back.
We don't kill people. That's for bad guys.
We just let them suffocate.
Yeah.
He dies off screen.
Yeah.
should just more often in conversation mug to an invisible camera and say, I don't kill you.
At the end of like the second episode too, the blind guy looks up into the sky as they're all gathered around. Or no, it's the leader, and he's like, "We're not Valorians anymore. We're Dino-Riders." And they're all looking up at the screen.
Actually, I've got something that I'm upset about with everybody being called Dino-Riders. They call the dinosaurs Dino-Riders. They aren't Dino-Riders. What dinosaurs are they riding?
In that first episode, they're like, "We're Valorians no more. We're Dino-Riders." And then cut to the start of the second episode, and one of the Rulons says, Dino-Riders.
Dino-Riders. And I was like, that spread fast. Yeah, word gets around.
Name change. Please use our new moniker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really catchy nickname that you say now. Can we change anything, boss?
Oh, darn it! Those Valorians with their super catchy nicknames.
It's all about good press. We didn't watch the episode where it happened, but in one of the episodes, they used the step crystal to look into the future, and the Valorians get to see the Rulons arguing and fighting, and so it adds significance to why they need to stop Krulos in the past, because his great armies are bickering and falling apart without him. If they can stop him specifically, then maybe there's a chance of stopping the rest of them. But
that's not how time travel works.
Yeah.
What do you mean that's not how time travel works?
This is related to an issue I have with time travel in some shows. When somebody is in the past and they're looking, this is what's happening in the future right now. The future isn't moving at the same rate as the past. You could just go back to the point that you were.
Well, I like time travel, and I didn't mind it.
Michael, on our podcast, we do a Land Before Time every season.
That's not set in stone.
Oh, it's very near and dear to our hearts, so we're already
all
thinking
of our
about
hearts.
dinosaurs pretty often. Did any
Give
of you
Littlefoot
think
a
of
gun?
Land Before Time when you were watching this?
A Spike with a machine gun would go really good. I think he could take out some sharp teeth. I would not trust Ducky with a gun, though.
Do you think Land Before Time would have happened before Dino-Riders, or is it in a post-Dino-Rider world?
We know that there were
Ducky-
time travelers in Land Before Time 4 because they gave them binoculars.
So probably
What?
or during.
Oh my god.
But the other thing is, Ducky has fine motor skills. And I don't think that's seen throughout Dino-Riders. Also, the dinosaurs kind of speak English, so it's fair to assume that they were taught English by the Valorians.
Okay, I didn't watch all the episodes, but I saw one of the Dino-Rider episodes was about them celebrating Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And in Land Before Time 3, they celebrate the Day of Great Giving.
Yeah, they just got the words mixed up.
I don't want to be a part of this conversation, but then I did imagine Spike with a machine gun.
Yeah,
going,
I know.
Ducky!
No, John, I really do hope that Land Before Time 5 has machine guns. Can you please tell me that randomly halfway through the movie, they start shooting things?
You'll just have to wait and see.
Or is it just deep, 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 deep water, and that's the only thing that's important about it?
Spoiler alert.
You spoiled that for me.
There is one character that is very popular in media and pop culture that originates from Dino-Riders. Does anyone know
I
who?
know. Can I guess?
Well, it sounds like it's not a guess.
Okay, never mind. I'll let other people guess.
Does anyone who doesn't know who it is have a guess?
A popular character who originates from this?
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
We've actually referenced this movie a number of times previously in the podcast. Sorry?
Is it Beethoven?
No.
The dog?
It's Beethoven.
Yeah. What is it you guys say? Hail Beethoven?
You almost got it. You almost got it.
Ooh.
Chance, you made an ooh sound. Did you figure it out, or was that you getting excited about hailing
I was
Beethoven?
excited that we had a guest hail Beethoven.
We like to say praise Beethoven.
Hey, Beethoven. I'm trying to blend in.
That's right. Oh, hail. No, the character that I'm referring to is Rex from Toy Story.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Rex
Yeah, I
from
knew
Toy
that.
Story is actually the T-Rex from Dino-Riders.
Really?
In the first Toy Story movie, he says that he's from a smaller company that was purchased by Mattel, literally referring to when Tycho was purchased by Mattel. He's way more famous than Dino-Riders ever was. So the harsh reality is we'll probably never get Dino-Riders in an official form again. Disney purchased Fox Kids in 2001, so they accidentally acquired Dino-Riders in that purchase. Mattel probably still owns the toys, but there's no rush to ever get this started again.
I did notice that in 2020, Mattel released the little green army men, but they are Valorians and Rulons. A cheap little bag of molded plastic. They didn't have any color. They didn't have any joints.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. They probably did it to test the market to see what people would buy, but that's such a far cry from how cool their toys were.
Yeah, I think it was them testing the nostalgia waters to see if there was a market for grown-ups who were into it now.
Honestly, for collectors, I don't know why this doesn't exist currently. There's a ton of these dinosaurs out there. They used the dinosaurs for Dino-Riders. Then the Smithsonian picked them up and resold them there. Then they resold the dinosaurs again under the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs toy line.
They could just sell equipment.
Or people could easily 3D print the equipment. You could very easily replicate Dino Rider toys with what exists out there.
You're right. A lot of that looks like it could very easily be printed at home now.
Okay, should we hop over to close?
I don't see why not.
Okay, do you want to go first, Kylan?
Sure. Yeah, I got my new ranking system.
Give it to us.
What did I say it was? It was terrible, bad, okay, good, incredible. It's kind of a 5-point scale. Yeah, I don't think this show is good. I would say it's bad but interesting. Fun concept, but I don't think that they do anything with it.
Bad, interesting? That's your review?
Yeah.
This is very similar to Silverhawks for me. The people who created the concepts, the character designs, the world building is all so cool. It's so good that they ripped it off with Beast Wars and became famous. Are the cartoon episodes good? No, not really. But they're free on YouTube, so there isn't really a reason not to watch them.
You can't complain.
Yeah, you get what you pay for. They're free. I think the world is so amazing. I am not rushing out to watch this show again. The first 2 episodes are better quality than the rest of the show. So at some point, I will rewatch those 2 episodes again. And truth be told, if the opportunity ever came for me to get a hold of Dino Rider toys in an affordable fashion, I would do it. Maybe the delivery isn't as good in the cartoon, but when you mix the designs of the toys with your imagination, this is one of the coolest things that's ever been invented.
Can I add to my scale? Because it's just kind of a basic 5-pointer.
Would you like to add a cookie?
No. I want to add what I would do to fix it.
Okay.
What I would do to make it better. For Dino Riders, I would do 3 major points. I don't know why I said 3. I didn't have 3 specifically, and I'm kind of forgetting them as I'm saying this. First point, give the show a plot. Bad things should happen and good things should happen. Point 2, add a little bit of consistency. You shoot a gun, sometimes dinosaurs are hurt, other times they aren't. And point 3, just fleshing out that world a little bit more. We don't understand what the crystals do, how the brain boxes work, or what's going on with the different species in this world. So if you followed those 3 things, I think that there could be a good show.
Chance?
Well, here's the thing. I really like Dino Riders conceptually. I think the toys were awesome. Dinosaurs have always been cool, but the problem is Dino Riders is just such a nothing show for such a great premise. One of the problems with Silverhawks is awesome, it's very cool, and then you watch the show and you're like, these characters are annoying, these ones are bland, so it loses marks for those reasons. But in comparison, Dino Riders loses marks for doing nothing with the coolest possible concept. If you were going to, in a lab, design a concept that would make you toys and sell stuff to kids super easily, Dino Riders was developed for that role and somehow managed to do nothing with it. If it weren't for the fact that it's Dino-Riders, it would be a 0, but I'm giving it a 1.
Okay.
That's fair.
Michael?
Wow, ones for Chance this year.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time we've had a 1.
I'm giving 1s because you guys kept bullying me for giving 2s.
True. Next season it's going to be 0s or 3s.
We'll have to wait and see. Depends on how many Descendants movies we watch.
Michael, tell us about your experience.
I kind of agree with everything that Chance and Ty said. They had a really good concept that they kind of messed up. They didn't do enough with it. They didn't flesh it out. They didn't make it feel important enough.
Mm-hmm.
The show itself is a 1, but Dino-Riders as a whole is a 5. I will never stop loving it because of what it did for me.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. The show is just fine. It's the only thing that you can watch of Dino-Riders, but it definitely doesn't do the property justice.
And hey, Dino-Riders taught you morality, so that's cool.
That's right.
No, that was your dad.
By being
Him taught me morality.
sad and depressed, he felt pity for me and he learned morality.
Dino-Riders taught you envy.
Dino-Riders taught you pity.
I learned how to identify various negative feelings because of the show, at least, right? That's envy, that's greed. Yeah, it was a really good time in my life, and I think that's the nostalgic element that makes it so great.
Amen. All right, John,
Praise
what
Beethoven.
about you?
Yeah, as much as the dinosaurs were cool, in our household, they were never wearing any of the equipment they were supposed to. The equipment was all these small pieces that would somehow make them way to the very bottom of your toy bin, and you could never really find them or match them with the right dinosaur, so
Small
you pretty
Lego
much had
pieces.
naked dinosaurs and small little people. So the small people figures were actually the coolest. The hammerhead toy, man, was that awesome. But I don't really remember the TV show, but watching it now, I would agree with people. It has a very similar feel to Silverhawks. What a lot of compelling cartoons have nowadays is a through line or a story that has somewhat of an arc, and there's a sense that there's actually a threat, and that it's actually going to take a lot of work to overcome it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that there was some through line in this that I appreciated. In episode 1, they knock the brain box off of the T-Rex. And then in episode 2,
they get the T-Rex back.
the T-Rex still does not have a brain box. And in episode 2, Serena and Youngstar are like, wow, look at the size of these footprints. What could make something this big? So they reference the Brontosaurus in episode 2, but you don't get to see it until episode 12. There were some things
There's
that...
foreshadowing.
Yeah. And I mean, John's talked about it already. Just the quality of cartoons back in the 80s and even the 90s was not nearly what it is now.
I think there is something cool about how wacky cartoons were in those days. They tried everything to try and see what stuck to the wall. I'm not watching a lot of kids shows nowadays, but I feel like a lot of kids shows nowadays are trying to cash in on nostalgia. And their focus is to make a show that recreates what the parents loved when they were kids. We can get kids to watch. But back in those days, it was the weirdest idea ever. Let's try and make it into a toy and sell it through a cartoon. So the concepts were just way more wild, and a lot of them sucked. It also created some things that had never been thought of before.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Huge props to the people who were the think tanks on these toy lines and cartoons. Some of the stuff that they came up with still blows me away. Oh, for people who want to know what we're doing next time, we are on our dinosaur shtick. We're coming back for Land Before Time 5. I mean, maybe we should do a dinosaur-themed season at this rate, but that's currently not the plan.
There are a lot more Land Before Time movies.
No.
I was thinking more about the Dinosaurs TV show from Jim Henson.
Ooh. Or the We're Back movie.
Yes, I mean, that would be a good Halloween episode that is about a haunted carnival that resurrects dinosaurs.
Yeah, you showed me some of it. I was very confused.
Kids' movies in the 90s were scary.
Yeah, they were terrifying. It was awesome.
Welcome to the Ghost Carnival of Dinosaurs.
We are planning to get some help to decide our 4th episode of this season, though. So a friendly reminder that we're looking for listeners' help in voting for what that episode will be. We have polls open on the Free Willy 2 episode on Spotify or on YouTube. Essentially, we've picked 4 movies that are really niche and wouldn't have otherwise made it into this season. So pick the one that you want us to do, and that'll be the one that we tackle next. In alphabetical order, the options are number 1, Lego The Adventures of Clutch Powers. Before Chris Pratt became the face of Lego movies, the Lego company was trying to build a franchise and made a movie in 2010 starring a character named Clutch Powers. Option number 2 is Mom and Dad Save the World. When an evil alien emperor is about to destroy Earth with his laser cannon, he catches a glimpse of a housewife named Marge. He immediately falls in love and teleports her and her husband Dick to his alien planet. And it's up to Dick and Marge to overthrow the evil emperor and save Earth in this 1992 box office flop.
Stop trying to convince people to pick that one.
No, I'm going through all the...
Tim, I feel
Yeah, you seem very biased. You're like, oh yeah, so this is a Lego movie. And then there's this movie where a guy from space finds a random woman named Marge.
Can I tell you guys the rest before you make judgment? Speaking of box office flops, we have option number 3, Speed Racer. Imagine you're the Wachowskis. You've created the Matrix. Everyone on Earth is copying your cinematography and film techniques. How do you reinvent cinema again? Well, with chimpanzees, ninjas, and candy stores. That's how. Speed Racer is a 2008 remake of a 70s cartoon about a superhero race car driver who fights against evil. And lastly, we have the 4th option, Spy Hard. Spy Hard is a 1996 James Bond spoof starring Leslie Nielsen as Agent WD-40. And yes, all of the puns and jokes are that bad. It is a series of adventures and gags about him trying to stop a bad guy while parodying James Bond movies.
And that movie does have a reference to Jurassic Park and dinosaurs in it for those who want to be true to this season.
This is the season of the dinosaurs?
Apparently. I guess Willy was just a big fish dino. So yeah, get out there and vote. As John would say, leverage your bots and help us pick what episode we want to do later this season. Does anybody have any other stuff they want to talk about before we go?
I just wanted to throw out that if you guys ever do a Thundercats episode, I would be very eager to participate.
Yeah, we did Silverhawks, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with, Michael, is...
1/3 of the Thundercats.
Yeah, essentially the guys who made Thundercats tried again, and they essentially made the exact same show a second time, only with cyborgs.
And fewer fans.
And yeah, it was just less popular.
I also read that Speed Racer was the reason why the Thundercats didn't get a movie reboot. It was in production, and after Speed Racer flopped so bad, they shelved it permanently.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if we get to Thundercats, they did have a remake cartoon, and that remake cartoon flopped, and that's why Lego Chima exists.
Chima?
Because Lego Chima was meant to be Lego Thundercats, but when the cartoon got canceled, they rebranded, which is why it looks a lot like Thundercats.
I watched like 3 episodes of Chima, and then I played the 3DS game.
I'm looking it up right now. This is so cool. Thank you for mentioning it.
Yeah, you can buy Lego Chima and pretend it's Thundercats.
Lego Chima is more species-based, though. They've got the lions, the birds, the crocodiles.
Well, they had a bunch of molds designed and made for Thundercats, and then they were like, okay, what can we do with this now? The main character's definitely Lion-O. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
All right, well, look out for weirdos and other good advice.
I'm trying to think of callbacks.
Oh my
but
goodness,
the only
you guys
one I
are
got is
terrible.
kind of
Adventure,
jokes that I
Jamie,
just heard.
adventure.
Don't forget to breathe in and out.
All right.
I guess guns don't kill people. Robots disguised as guns kill people.
Hey, that's a moneymaker right there.
Yeah, we need to print a second version of the t-shirt. It says, dinosaurs with guns don't kill people. Nothing kills people. You got a sale on Redbubble?
I've gotten
Put them
multiple.
on,
He
because I
got real
have-
sales. It's crazy.
We were playing Xbox after recording the last episode, and my phone pinged, letting me know that I had another sale on Redbubble. And now Kai is shocked to believe that anyone owns any of our shirts.
What is the most purchased shirt?
Nicotine?
Yeah, that's fair. Somebody could buy that
Whatever the
without
bots are
knowing.
purchasing.
Whatever the bots are purchasing.
Why would they buy our shirts? They're not going to be able to resell them.
No, this is interesting. He's onto something here. Taylor Swift scalpers.
Maybe all the people buying them are using VPNs.
There's an algorithm in the world that's really convinced we're the next big ticket item.
I literally have one of the t-shirts in a cart right now, and I was really hoping for more mugs, so just putting that out there.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Michael. I appreciate you, and I have so many memories of our childhood. We only touched on a tiny bit today. It's always good to hang out and catch up.
So now you can say you found your childhood? You've seen your childhood?
Oh, have you seen my...
Thank you.
That's been a while.
We got her.
When it's such a deep cut that no one even understands what you're talking about. And it was only last episode.
Yeah, last episode was something else.